Welcome everyone to the latest coffee break webinar by RIB CostX. My name is Francesca Nottingham and I am a CostX consultant in RIB software. As you can see on screen, this month's topic will be calibrating and scaling, so we'll have a look at how you would do this within the software. For those of you who don't know what CostX is, or for those who have never used it, CostX is a fully integrated measuring and estimating solution with universal applications, supporting everything from hand-drawn sketches to PDFs, DWGs, all the way through to 3D models, BIM files and everything in between. As we can see from this matrix, RIB CostX is available in a variety of licenses, ranging from offering all functionality to a fairly limited option depending on your estimating requirements. Delving deeper into each functionality, let's look at the components, breaking down how each of them are cohesive with one another, bringing you an all-in-one service. You have your takeoff options to start with. Whether you're using 3D BIM or 2D drawings, CostX provides accurate data, enabling you to utilise this within your workbook. So our workbooks are just like Excel spreadsheets, but they are our own version. They still have the ability to use formulas and functions, making them very easy to navigate and use. We then have revisions tracking. Now this offers an accurate method of comparing a previous revision with a new one, giving you multiple ways to highlight, identify and quantify any changes, meaning you're always up to date with the latest cost implications. Once you've completed your estimate, you then have the opportunity to produce a report. Now we offer various standard report templates for you to use. Alternatively, you can customise your own report, producing a professional quality output. Don't forget to check out our RIB CostX YouTube channel where we upload our coffee break webinars, and you can also subscribe so you can get notified of the latest videos and kept up to date with the latest features and how-to videos. So this month's webinar, as previously mentioned, we will be reviewing calibrating and scaling. Firstly, let's discuss what this applies to. So what we mean by this is scaling your drawings when they are imported into the system. So when you have started a new building and you're adding in your drawings, you get the opportunity to set the correct scaling. If the scaling is unknown, then this is where the calibration comes in to set the scale. Why is this important? Well, quite obviously, if you don't have your drawing set to the correct scale, then your dimensions will not be accurate, ultimately meaning your costs won't be either. We have various tools to enhance the accuracy of your measuring, and we will go through these in the video. So setting out your scaling forms part of the drawing properties. Now, if you have multiple drawings, each with different scales, then you will have to identify that on each of them. You may have multiple drawings which are all set at the same scale, in which case you can set the properties for all of them rather than doing it individually. We have a drawing manager to assist with checking or editing scales to singular or multiple drawings. This does work on all formats, so what we can show you in this video is the best method to use for scaling or calibration on a variety of formats to give you an idea. So a couple of things to note, we will be focusing on 2D drawings in this video, as 3D models have the intelligence to scale themselves and CostX can read that, so you don't need to set the scale yourself. There is some further information and a step-by-step guide in our CostX help guide. All you need to do to access that is either click the question mark in the top right corner of the application or press F1 on your keyboard. In this video, we'll be looking at 3 different types of format to give you an idea of scaling methods for each of them that can be applied to other formats as well. So let's take a look at scaling and calibrating. So I have created a building within CostX, which has no drawings in it yet because that is something that I want to do with you and show you the drawing properties. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be looking at 3 different types of formats. And what I'll start with is the most intelligent out of the 3, which is the CAD drawing or DWG file. Now, these drawings often come with multiple sheets and are created on a model space in the design software. And that is actually created on a 1:1 scale. So from here on the paper space, they have what are referred to as viewports, and these have different scales. Now, CostX can read the scales of the different viewports when adding the drawing. However, there is a warning that appears, so let me just show you what that looks like when you add in a drawing. So what we're going to do now is just add in our first drawing. So if I go to my drawings ribbon up here and select my add button on the far left there, it will navigate to my file explorer where I just need to locate the drawing that I actually want to add in. So I'm just going to find the folder like so, and I'm going to select my DWG file or CAD file for the demonstration. So I'll open this. Now, as mentioned earlier, these are the different sheets that come with the model. So I'm actually going to select all of these to bring them in. So I'll select all. You can just select one of them and press OK, but I will just select all because I want both of them. Now this is the warning that comes up that I was talking to you about. So it's just saying here that I've selected one or more paper space layouts to add, and it's just telling me a caution that there can be different scales due to the different viewports. So just to be mindful of that when I'm doing my takeoff. So anytime you're adding in a file that's got a model that's got sheets behind it, then this warning will come up just to prompt you to make sure that you're measuring correctly. So because I am adding in multiple drawings at once, I've got this drawing option window pop up, so I can have a name prefix. If I want to, it's just automatically given me this one. I can leave that as it is, or I can get rid of it. In this case, I'm just going to get rid of it. You can also set the base unit of measure, so it will automatically default to millimeters, but you can choose any of these that suits you. The file path is obviously just going to be where the drawing is located, and this is an opportunity to create a folder. So you might already have one, in which case you can use this drop down menu. Alternatively, you can create one. So this one I'm just going to give a DWG folder to. And then here you can set scales. Now, because this will have been created in a 1:1 scale, I'm going to leave that as it is. So I'm just going to press OK, and then that's going to bring my DWG files in. So I've got my layout here, as you can see, and then I've also got my model as well. So one of the tools I can use is actually our measure distance tool, which is up here. This will allow me the opportunity to basically check my dimensions or my known dimensions on the drawing. So if within my model here, if I zoom in, I can see that I've got some known dimensions here. So what we can do is actually just use these as a point to measure from. So let's take this little one down here. So if I select my measure distance tool, you can see that I'm actually, as I move my cursor, it's clinging to the intersections there, making it easy for me to snap to a point, a good location to start from. So I'm just going to click, and then as I move along, you can see there that is actually correct. So my 2,642 millimeters obviously equates to 2.642 meters, and I know that that's correct. So to come out of this, I can press escape, and that cancels the tool. Rather than clicking on this, you can actually use your M key, and that will activate it as well, like so, and also deactivate it. So you've got options there on how to use it. There's quick ways each way, but whatever works for you can be used. So now that we've verified this, what we can do is continue to add in some drawings. So for the next file type, we're going to add in a PDF. So I'm going to go to my trusty add button again, and it will take me to my file explorer, and this time I will select my PDF. So let's open this. Now you'll note when I added this in, I've actually got a few more options in my properties. So when you're adding multiple drawings, you get fewer options. When you're adding in one, you can actually tailor it a bit more. You can actually do that to these as well. Once they're imported, you can go in and change the properties as you see fit. So what we can do is change the name. So in this instance, I'm just going to shorten the name to my ground floor plan. And I'm going to create a new folder now, so this one's going to be PDF. File name is obviously the file path where it's coming from. And once again, I've got the opportunity to change my unit of measure, and I can also set the scale here as well. So we've got options where there's quite common scales that are used that you can select from. Alternatively, if you select custom, you can actually enter in the details here. If you've got your maintain aspect ratio box ticked, then you can be assured that whatever you set as the horizontal scale, the vertical scale will also match. So we'll leave that as it is for now, because we need to find out what the scale of the drawing is before we enter this information. So I'll click insert to bring that in. So as you can see, I've got my new folder here and my ground floor plan, which is my layout, currently set to a scale of 1:1. So we can zoom in and we can see this is in fact set to a scale of 1:100, and we can confirm, yeah, scale is 1:100. So what we can do is just either double click on the drawing like so, and the properties will pop up once again. Alternatively, you can click on the drawing and press your properties button up here, and again your properties window will open. So now what we can do is set our scale to 1:100. So that's a relatively common scale ratio, so it will be in our list. Here it is, so I can just select that, and as I did so, my vertical scale also got updated because I have my aspect ratio button ticked. Now I'm just going to press update. Okay, now you'll see that this has now been entered, and if we use our measure distance tool again, we should be able to see that it's accurate. So I can press my M key and we can check this measure like so. And we can see that this is in fact incorrect. So I should be getting a 6.5 meter measurement there. And although I've typed in the scale, it should be accurate. This means that this drawing has actually been scaled incorrectly, or it's just been put, the wrong scale has been put on the drawing notes. So what we can do in this situation is actually use our calibration tool in order to make sure this is correct. Now what we need to do is, if I escape out of the measure distance tool, we need to reset this calibration. Now how we do this is we can double click into our properties in here, and we need to bring it back to the custom 1:1 ratio, which is the ratio that it got brought in on. So if I update this, and then I'm going to select my reset calibration tool. So now it's been reset back to the settings that I brought it in on. Now what we're going to do is use our calibration tool. So let's just use this as a known dimension to go by. So what we can use is our calibrate x-axis tool. So I'm just going to click this. Now I'm just going to line this up as accurately as I can, and then it's going to go across. So even if I move my mouse up and down, the line is as straight and it clings to the next intersection. So I can just click again to release that. And now what I can do is type in the actual measurement. So we've got millimeters here, and obviously we've got the millimeter amount here. So we literally just need to type in the amount that we need. And we've got the option here to apply the same factor to the y-axis. I'm going to leave that as ticked, but if you had a scenario where perhaps you had different scales, perhaps you had a section drawing with different details on the drawing with different scales, you might not want to apply it to all of it. So in this case, I'm going to leave it the same, but you can untick it and do your calibrate y-axis up here. So I'm just going to click OK. Okay, now when I do my measure check, it should hopefully be accurate. So let's go to measure distance. And there we go. We've now got an accurate representation of the dimensions. So it's always really important to double check your scales because you can't always rely on the information on the drawing. Most of the time you can, obviously, with a more intelligent drawing like a DWG, but in terms of a PDF, definitely always worth checking using the measure distance tool there. So you will notice that this scale has actually been left at 1:1, but if I hover over that, you can see in the detail there that I've got an X and Y calibration factor, so you can see that it has actually been calibrated, and you can be rest assured that it's going to provide you with accurate information. Now, we've gone through DWGs and PDFs. What we're going to do now is bring in what is probably the lowest or least intelligent drawing that you can bring into CostX, and that is a JPEG file. So you might have or be in a scenario where it's very early days on a project and all you have to go by on existing buildings is perhaps a screenshot from Google Maps, but you want to get an idea as to the ground floor area. You can do that through CostX, so you can still scale accurately, and I'm just going to show you how to do that. So what we'll do is bring in that JPEG. Once again, we'll go to the Add button. Now I'm just going to alter my file types to all files, and we will see we've got a new one here. I'm just going to click this, open it up. Okay, so I can call this whatever I want. These are the same properties that I had earlier when I was bringing in the PDF. I'm going to leave it as the XL London. You might recognise that that's where that is. So I'm going to create a new folder. This one's going to be called JPEG. And once again, I'm going to leave this info as it is, just because it's quite a good base to bring a drawing in on. And what we're going to do is calibrate from the known dimension on the drawing. So let's just insert this, and here we go. We've got our new folder with our drawing, and if I zoom in, you can see not a very intelligent drawing. It's very pixelated when I zoom in, and it's not got anything really that I can go by in terms of dimensions. However, what Google does is very conveniently, if I zoom in on my bottom right corner here, give me a scale bar in which to calibrate to. So just like we did with our PDF, we can do exactly the same thing with a JPEG image. So let's zoom in to this corner here. So what we can also do in this scenario is, because our scale is set to meters, we can actually adjust this in our properties before we do our calibration. Now, all I need to do is just go into the properties of this JPEG image. So I'll click on properties, and here I can change my base unit of measure to meters. Press update. Okay, so this is now changed to meters, and what I can do when I do my calibration of my x-axis, then I can enter in the exact amount that Google has given me. So I can literally just type in 200 meters, that matches that. Again, I'm going to make sure that my factor applies to the y-axis as well. Press OK. And now when I do my measuring, so for example, let's say we want to measure the ground floor area of the XL London. I've already got a GFA dimension group set up, so using my point tool, I'm simply just going to do a rough measure of the building. Just quickly go around the edges. You'd obviously do this a lot more accurately in practice, but just to give you an idea, so I've just closed that measurement, and I've got a perimeter length of 1,609 meters and a very large area there, but we all know how big the XL London is, so we can be happy that that is accurate information. Now, if you've got all your drawings loaded in, so we were just going to look at the 3 today, so we have got all of these loaded in. If we want to look at them globally or manage them globally, then we can do that. So we can actually access what we call a drawing manager. So I'm just going to click on this, and this gives me an overview of all of the drawings in this building here. I can see what folder they're sitting in, I can see what name they are, I can see what unit of measure they've been set at, what scales they've been set at, and here it actually indicates to me whether something has been calibrated or not. Again, this is another sort of audit point that you can locate just to make sure how accurate your dimensions are going to be. And if you had quite a few different drawings, then you can obviously have a look at all of them rather than going into each individual one and looking at the properties. So in terms of management, you can obviously have a global look as to what has been calibrated, what scale things are set at, how the unit of measure is set up, but you can also multi-delete from here as well if you wanted to. So I could select a few and press delete, or I could edit these, change which folder they go into, or create a brand new folder. So there is just that method of measurement, or method of management, sorry, within this drawing manager here. So that is pretty much what we need to know about scaling and calibration. The general rule is that the more intelligent the drawing, the sort of less input from you, but like I've demonstrated, even if it's just an image, then we can still calibrate to this and generate an accurate reading. So thanks very much for listening to this coffee break webinar. Tune in next month for the next video on the latest how-to videos and new features.